I like the story of E.T. coming down into Detroit and meeting Henry Ford III, and he takes him on a tour of his automobile factory, and he says, do you have factories on your whole planet? And E.T. says, well, yes, but we don't make cars there, we make people there. How do you make people on Earth? So Henry Ford tells E.T. how they make people on Earth, and E.T. giggles and said, that's how we make cars. How we make people is much more interesting and unpredictable than how we make cars. If abortion had nothing to do with sex, there wouldn't be Planned Parenthood. The way to get Planned Parenthood out of business is to bring back the stork, but you can't do that, of course. Because abortion is backup birth control. Why does any woman ever want an abortion? Well, birth control hasn't worked. So that's the default position. Well, what's birth control? What's the essence of birth control? The demand to have sex without having babies. Oh, duh. How could we forget it? Well, it's so obvious. That's how you can forget it. You look at a map, and you don't notice the name of the country, just the name of the cities, because the name of the country is too big. Or, suppose there was something else other than what we just talked about a moment ago, divorce, which had the same effects as divorce, but had nothing to do with sex. It wasn't the dissolving of sexual fidelity. It was something else. But the effects of it were, number one, you broke your promise to the most important person in your life, the most important and solemn promise you ever made. Secondly, you harm your own children irreparably, more than almost anything other than direct abuse could possibly do, and make it much harder for them to live happy and productive lives. And three, you weaken the fundamental foundation of your society and do much more than a Muslim terrorist could possibly do to destroy your society. And you can prove all three of those propositions scientifically and mathematically. There is no doubt about them. Now, anything like that had nothing to do with sex would be absolutely intolerable and illegal. But not divorce. See how it undermines your basic moral instincts. Well, what weapon can we use on that battlefield? Can we go back to a kind of Puritanism? Nope, won't work. Besides, that was a limitation of vision. That was purely negative. Oh, can we then be just sort of nice and say, no, that's too big. Well, what weapon will defeat this enemy? Well, lust is perverted love. So the thing that will defeat lust is love, nothing else. Charity, agape. The real version will defeat the fake version. Not something external and foreign. Not even just a law, but the real thing. Basic economic principle. Maybe bad money drives out good, but good products drive out bad products. Live a life of joyful self-sacrifice, and people will look and say, wow, what's that? That's how Christians won the world. Why do you think 12 confused Jewish fishermen converted the hard-nosed Roman Empire? Got a rabbi friend once who said to me, I think I understand all the mysteries of your Catholic theology except one. I can't understand how in the world 12 smart Jewish boys let the world's most profitable business get into the hands of the Italians. How did Christianity win the world? Not by their theology. It wasn't that obvious. It was full of mysteries. Not by their laws and principles. They were too high for most people. You wouldn't expect hard-nosed, selfish, practical Romans to immediately fall in love with let's-be saints. But by example, the most powerful way we can teach morality to our children. You see it. You can't argue with Mother Teresa. Impossible. Nobody ever won an argument with Mother Teresa. Can't be done. She'll just love you. What do you do there? The only thing that will save the world is saints. Nothing else will do. Sorry, I wish I could give you something easier. Method. You know, a 12-step program maybe. I've divided it into 9 points. Well, is there 9 particular things I can do? No, just one. That'll do it. It's the weapon. Well, that's encouraging because it means that you can do something. It means you have to do something. It means the world depends on you. It doesn't depend on President Obama. It does not depend upon the Pentagon. It does not depend upon your preacher. It depends on you. It depends on every cell in the body. Just imagine what 10 more Mother Teresas would do to the world. Just imagine. Well, do I have any volunteers? Point 8, how do you acquire this weapon? Well, the question how is a tricky question. Because how usually means, give me a method, a cause that will produce the effect. For instance, if the lights were out, you would ask, how can I get the lights back on again? And the answer is, put a switch on. That's what technology is good for. It makes hard things easy. You don't have to rub 2 sticks together and then control the fire in the middle of the room. We've got a switch. Makes it easy. Technology makes hard things easy. Being the same is hard. There's an obstacle. Inner obstacle, our own sins. Outer obstacle, the devil. It requires struggle. It doesn't happen automatically. It's not the default position. Original sin is the default position. So you have to keep fighting against it. So, okay, so it's hard.